Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber kind of ask me to help with his routine. I'll flip it in here so you guys can see it for a few seconds and then flip it back out, because it's really not that important that we look at what this individual is doing, because he linked this to me in several different places, including social media. You know what, guys, something that people need to realize when they start writing their own routines is that pestering other people to help you with it who you're not paying is going to end up being real problematic. If you get someone to help you, they're not going to do it for long. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about it, because this is something I did for about a dozen people. Back when I first got on YouTube, I didn't know any better. I didn't realize how time-consuming it will become to actually help a person with a customized routine who's not even paying you. They will treat you like you're a regular coach, and what I've noticed is that they not only will take hours and hours and hours of your time. When you give them advice on a routine, they'll make changes that you didn't recommend and then ask you what you think, and you have to restart back over with them. And then when you don't answer them quick enough, they get angry with you even though you're doing something for free for them. And I have stopped doing this about 4 years ago and refused to critique people's individual routines, and here's why. If you're going to have someone critique and write a custom routine for you, that's what you're doing. If someone is looking at your routine and fixing everything that you did wrong, they're writing a custom routine. That's something you hire a professional to do. You don't ask for that as a freebie favor from someone who you're not really good friends with. Number two, if you don't know enough how to critique your own routine, you haven't done the proper reading, and I'll get to that in a minute. Probably not a good idea to really write your own routine if you have actual serious goals. Now, people who are just trying to make good gains, I could give you guys some simple cookie cutter routines anybody could run, no problem. But if you're trying to fine tune a routine, you need to realize that's trying to cut the bleeding edge in a competitive environment. That's not something you're going to do just to make good gains when you start customizing a routine like that. People need to realize they are not special snowflakes. You are not a special, unique snowflake who needs a special custom program. You know what? If you're not an advanced lifter with very serious goals, you don't need to customize anything. You could run any proven cookie cutter routine. Doesn't matter if it's mine. Doesn't matter if it's one of Bill Starr's. Doesn't matter if it's one of Mark Ripto's. It doesn't matter. Pick a cookie cutter routine. But what you need to understand is a routine is not a set of exercises and rep ranges and sets. All right, that is not what a routine is. A routine is a planned progression. Meaning, if you're just listening to some stuff like RPE scales, that's not progression. You need to actually have mapped out how you plan on progressing at different points in a program on the different exercises. That's the biggest, most important part of a routine. I mean, truth be told, if you're just trying to get bigger and stronger, do you really think whether you chose to do the back squat versus the front squat is as important as the progression rate is on your squats? Probably not. People worry about sets, reps, and exercise selection and not progression. Progression is everything. Your progression is going to determine all the performance elements of your training. It's going to determine how much size you gain, how much strength you gain. It's going to determine a lot of different things. That's the most important element. And, you know, no one really wants to look at those things, but they need to understand that if you're doing a custom routine, you're probably an advanced lifter in a competitive environment. You have to pay attention to the most important things. And you know, the same thing, I mean, it's like guys will do something like that and they'll give you a routine, and it's like it's a catch-22 when you ask someone else for advice on a routine. Because for someone to actually help you, they need to know everything. They need to know how long you've been training. They need to know what you lift on all your lifts. They need to know your body weight, rough body composition. You got to give them some stuff. You got to give them a lot of material for them to even address what you're doing, as well as your specific goals of that routine, short-term goals, long-term goals. And the thing is, by the time you're done spelling all of that out, you've written someone an entire novel. They're going to have to read all that to try to give you proper advice. And if you haven't given them that much information, they probably can't customize a routine for you, let alone critique yours. And then you're asking someone to do a huge amount of work for you. And people don't realize that when they send a routine just for someone to look at. And you know, the thing is, guys, if you're having to ask someone for help, you probably don't know how to write a good routine. And that's just reality. That's not an insult. You probably just aren't well read enough. And the thing is, usually when you send your routine to someone who really has been around a long time, knows a lot about strength training, strength programming, they're usually shaking their head looking at your routine unless you know a lot about those things, which means you're probably better off picking someone else's routine that's already time proven, tested, and effective. Because the thing is, if you're not educated on it, I'll ask you a simple question on that. And I really do mean that. A simple question. If you are not educated on strength training programs, strength and conditioning, you don't understand periodization, how all these different elements work together, do you honestly think that you will personally be able to write a routine that is as good as the free routines that are already out there? Do you honestly think that with no knowledge on the subject, you're going to be able to get the same results or improve upon? Because that's the main thing. If you're going to sit down and write something out and do work, it needs to be better than what's already free, right? Right? That someone else has done the work for and provided for you, it's going to need to be better than what they did. Do you really think that without that level of knowledge base, you're going to be able to improve upon a routine written by a coach that's already an effective, time-proven program? 1,000,000 to 1. 1,000,000 to 1 that you're going to do that. You're not a unique snowflake. You don't need a custom routine until you're an advanced lifter. And the only customization you usually need before that is maybe, hey, I got a weak point. My biceps are lagging behind my back a little bit. Maybe I need to do some extra curls. I need a little bit more side delt for whatever reason. My hamstrings are a little weak on my deadlift. I should bring my hamstrings up with some glute ham raises that aren't in the routine. That's it. You could fix your weak points. You can throw in a little accessory work to fix and correct and catch up weak points. Outside of that, you shouldn't need to customize a routine unless you're very seriously competitive. It's just no need for it. There are plenty of time-proven cookie-cutter routines written by amazing coaches out there for free. So you're not going to be able to beat that. Just run someone else's routine. But what I would say for the people who say, well, I want to learn more about this. All right, here's what I would say. If you want to write your own routines for yourself because you want to build that knowledge base, I'm going to say probably the books you would need to read at a bare minimum would be a book called Practical Programming and another one called Super Training. You read both of those books back to back, as well as any physiology text, strength training text, strength and conditioning text that you can get your hands on. But if you read both of those books cover to cover at least 3 times, because remember, it takes 3 times to retain a significant amount of knowledge of seeing or hearing a piece of material. You read both of those books cover to cover 3 times, then I would say maybe you could start writing your own routines for yourself. But if you're not doing that, if you haven't done at least that, and you don't have at least that knowledge base to start with, you're going to do better if you run a routine someone more experienced has already pre-written. And it doesn't mean they come in and correct yours. Is you just run one of their programs, cookie cutter the way they're written. Doesn't matter whether it's me, doesn't matter whether it's Bill Starr, Joe DeFranco, I don't care. Anybody who's got good routines out there that are free, they're out there. So you could run Joe DeFranco's Built Like a Badass. I think that's what he's got one called. Or his West Side for Skinny Bastards. Why not? You can run Bill Starr's 5x5. Done. Problem solved. Run the Texas method. You guys can get bigger and stronger on that. And guys, you say, well, I feel like I need a little more accessory work because I want to be more aesthetic. Okay, throw some curls in. Throw some side laterals in. Done. All you need. Shouldn't need to write your own programs. Unless you have the knowledge base to do so, you are going to get lesser results than any of those programs I named if you're at the experience level to run them. You're going to get lesser results than even running the programs that I put out for free. It's just that simple, guys. No point writing your own programs. And if you write your own programs, you really shouldn't need to sit down and have other people critique them. But when you do, if you're not including stuff like your experience level, your progression pattern and everything, that's not even a full program. That's just like a useless thing you've sent to someone. It's not even enough for them to even know what you're doing. So always keep that in mind, guys. And again, rather than waste other people's time, just run their programs. If you respect someone's opinion enough to ask them to help you with your routine, you respect their opinion enough to just run one of their programs they've already written. Probably be better off for it. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.